We are happy. So she's happy to, go and stand before the press, and she does that pretty much every day that she's out and take all the questions. And I think when you get to the point where you're answering questions about white bean servers, that you're nearing the end of legitimate questions for her to answer.
Hillary Clinton's communications director defiant in the face of national polls showing a candidate in decline within a Democratic Party that could be closer than the experts predicted months ago. James Carville is guest contributor to Media Matters, a longtime political advisor to both Bill and Hillary Clinton. He joins me now. James, thanks so much for making the time.
Well, good. I had to come out because of all of the foolishness going on. That gentleman, Mr. Saliza, I guess it was, talks about a total Democratic freakout. Yeah. And then he quotes a guy who talked to a guy. This Mr. Brizos, who's running that sweatshop out there in Seattle, he needs to go on 15th Street where the Washington Post is and get this place in order. There's nobody editing that newspaper.
You don't think there's okay, if there's no full-scale Democratic freakout, why is there a rise in the polls of Bernie Sanders? Why do you now have her under 50% amongst Democrats for the first time? And why does she have the lowest approval rating since 2001, March?
Well, let me ask you a question. Why is she beating every Republican and has better favorability ratios than any Republican running for president? It's supposed to be the Democrats that are freaking out. I mean, look, polls go up and down. They talk. This is foolishness. I'm having to come out of my vacation to deal with this kind of stupidity that these people are putting out, and Hillary's going to be just fine. Fine.
If this is just the media doing this, why is the FBI investigating? Why is there a congressional?
First of all, did you read the Jeffrey Toobin piece in the New Yorker who says basically there's almost zero chance that she did anything that was wrong? And this always goes on in the FBI, and this goes on and on. It's never going to stop. And, these people, we don't like Hillary. Why is it Paul Begay and Jim Carville out there defending her? Why can't we just attack her like we want to? And I understand that. I've been dealing with this for 23 years now.
So you, as the famed political operative, one of the highest paid political operatives in the world, you have no problem seeing FBI, Clinton, and criminal investigation next to each other in headlines around the country?
It's not going to amount to a hill of beans, just like all of the other stuff that I've been through. It doesn't amount to a hill of beans. It's just a bunch of people, talking to each other, spinning themselves up over a pile of garbage. And it's like people like the Washington Post talking about a total Democratic freakout. You want to talk about a freakout? Look at these Republicans, all like they want to get rid of all of the people in the country. They want to repeal the Constitution and God knows what. You want to freak out on something? Freak out on that.
So is all this part of a vast right-wing conspiracy then? Is it just the same old that always happens to them?
It's just mostly, stupid media people talking to other stupid media people, making stuff up and spinning themselves up on something that's not going to amount to a hill of beans. And by the way, I'm looking forward to the Benghazi hearing in October. We should see how many questions they're going to ask on Benghazi. People what they need to do is just calm down and, enjoy the race. There's going to be some interesting politicking coming up, and it'll be fine.
All right. What was your honest interpretation of her performance yesterday in Nevada? Because she came across to a lot of people as sort of crass, dismissive, flippant, not wanting to sort of give this issue the time, despite the impact that it's had on her numbers.
Well, look, you go out to the press and you do things. I thought she was fine. I thought she was superb in the Black Lives Matter thing. I thought that the education stuff was superb. I think her campaign's got some really good things going out there. And they're just going to have to deal with this. And, people are going to interpret every word, every expression that she makes. Everything, the rule of the media is this: the Clintons don't deserve a defense. They get irritated if somebody comes on and defends them, and I just don't play by those rules. I never have, and I'm not going to play by those rules. And I think she's put some really good stuff out there. She's going to have to run a campaign. From day one, I can assure you that the Democratic nomination is going to be competitive. People are going to do that, but in the end, I'm very confident that she's going to be fine, and really looking forward to the general election.
What do you make of the fact that she's below 50 with Democrats, that now a majority of Democrats want Joe Biden to run, and even Al Gore's name has been floated? Is this not sort of sounding the alarm bell that there's still a lot of Democrats on the sideline saying, hey, Joe, take a serious look at this?
Look, Democrats like the vice president. I like the vice president. And, if he wants to run, that's fine. In the end of the day, I'm completely confident that our nominee is going to be Mrs. Clinton. But, you know, I like the fact, I mean, you can't stop people from running, and presidency is a very high office, and a lot of people want to run for it and do it, and that's fine, but I'm going to campaign hard for her, and I'm going to call out this stupidity in the media when I see it, just like the stupidity that was in the Washington Post. Full Democratic freak out. Give me a break.
Yeah, okay, let's talk a little bit, just to end the show, or end the segment rather, about the Republican side. Donald Trump, how do you explain his rise in the polls?
Because he reflects what a lot of Republicans in the United States think. Remember Mitt Romney's position, the last Republican nominee, as I never tire pointing out, was for self-deportation. He actually thought that 13 million people were going to go back to the country. Trump has up the ante, and by the way, Scott Walker is now mimicking what Trump's saying. And they're all doing that, and he's just a reflection of where the Republican Party is.
You still think Walker has the best chance of moving forward like we thought a few years ago?
No, kind of, you know, actually, probably Cruz, if something happens to Trump, is probably, in my opinion, is better positioned than any of these guys. But I think the big story here is the failure of Jeb Bush to really do anything. I mean, he's sort of been going down, and people thought otherwise. But it's going to be a fascinating race over there. I'll tell you what. But if I had to guess, when Trump goes down, that Cruz is better positioned than anybody right now.
Yeah, he says that Trump's renting his voters. Well, we'll get your wife to talk about that side. James Carville, thank you so much. And thanks for the time. Take care. Be well.